Hey, Scotty.
David, I'm back.
Hey, we're both back.
We're here.
It's the Federation Conversation episode 13. How are you?
It's our Star Trek podcast. Oh, I'm feeling kind of woozy and shitty, but that's not really anything relating to Star Trek. Although, I don't know.
No? Well, we do have other things to talk about today. It's not only a Star Trek podcast.
Can you blame a bad day on Star Trek? I'm starting to wonder if we didn't all start with last week's shitty episode.
Can you blame it on Star Wars?
Oof. We'll get into fucking Star Wars. They'll get their turn.
Okay. This is episode 14 of Discovery. The War Within. The War Without, the War Within.
We've been trying to get that right for the past 20 minutes. It's just not happening.
Within or without you, this song is about you.
Hey, George. Anyway, yeah.
So, Discovery. After the shockingly bad episode last week, we get kind of back to normality, yeah.
Now that we've had a week, did the consensus sort of get to where we are with last week's episode? Like, everybody agrees it was shit now, right?
I don't think so. I think some people identified some problems with it. Like, I went onto Reddit and I made a post saying, the fact that the Doomsday machine was going to destroy all life in all universes was shit. Yeah. And a lot of people were like, yeah, that's pretty dumb. But I think overall people enjoyed that episode. So
before we start this week's episode, it was the cheapest, low-rent sci-fi showdown bullshit through and through for a good 50 minutes. How is anybody enjoying that?
It definitely, yeah, I don't...
Anyway, sorry.
I don't know. It was, yeah. I don't want to say, look, I long for the days of TNG and the thoughtful sci-fi, but that really was just mindless bullshit. So I don't know.
Anyway, you know how we feel about last week's episode.
Yeah.
We can talk about this week now. So, what do you think of this week, David?
I thought it was much better, but
yeah,
there are still a few things that are kind of bugging me about the show, and kind of off the back of last week's episode as well. Yeah.
Oh, you talk.
There you go. Okay.
I was just going to say, this isn't a show that's very good at masking sort of, you might say, production-induced limitations on this. Say there was that really short episode. They didn't really beat around the bush to try and cover for that. It was sort of like, we've got less for you this week, sorry. It's sort of like Walter White with only 2 pounds of meth when he was supposed to give Tuco like 3. And then this week, the lack of eventfulness is sort of like that other episode. I can't remember. I think it was before the preseason break, mid-season break, where not a lot happened, and it was kind of obviously a filler episode.
Was that the one with the Spore Planet?
Yeah.
I kind of liked that episode, except for the weird editing. That was the one with Saru acting weird on the planet.
Was that the filler episode? I thought it was another one. Anyway.
No, I'm pretty sure it was that one.
This episode.
That was the one that had really weird editing and it was shorter and.
Oh, okay. Now this week's
because
episode.
They had to move the preseason break. So
this week's episode was really transparently a. Listen, guys, we just had a big thing last week, and the next one's the finale. So can you just kind of bear with us? We haven't.
Yeah, I kind of got that. I mean, they got through a lot of just talking. It was a longer episode. I think it was about 50 minutes long compared to the last 2 episodes, which are like 35 minutes or something. So it did feel a lot longer. And they just did a whole lot of talking. And to be honest, I didn't mind it, but there are still a few things that are annoying me. One of which is Philippa Giorgio. Still just a terrible... I don't know. She's just a terrible actress. I don't want her in the show. I'm guessing she's going to die next episode, and then we'll be rid of her.
You've decided Michelle Yeoh not very good?
Well, look, as soon as she came out to the bridge and she was like a good person, pretending to be a good person, she could kind of talk again. Like, she could get the words out again, because she's not doing this evil, I'm evil, this veneer of evil.
Where do these tropes come from? Is it a science fiction thing, or?
Well, you just know what an evil person sounds like. I don't think it's even from like. I don't think it's from TV shows. I think it's just genetic.
I think they hide in plain sight. They don't all need to be anyway. You
know how when people have met like a serial killer and they have a close encounter and they're like, well, I kind of had a bad feeling about that person. That's the feeling. They talked like that.
Yeah. We've talked about serial killers before on this podcast, actually, and they always say that they're so charming and personable and stuff. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on how you look at it. Anyway, I've
never met one.
I want to ask you a question about the start of this episode.
Yeah, what's up?
This is more for me than the actual... I described the opening of the episode as a cold open. What's a cold open? It's one of those, like, the Tonight Show.
A cold open, Scotty, a cold open is every episode of Star Trek. It's when... well, not every episode of Star Trek. Not in this season, anyway. But it's when something happens before the opening credits.
Oh, okay, gotcha, right.
What did you think a cold open was? What were you referring to it as?
I thought it was like in SNL if they start without applause, like, because it's supposed to be serious.
Without applause? What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, every show starts with live from New York and trumpets.
So without the music? Or do you mean without comedy?
I think the point I wanted to get to is that I don't know what a cold open is. David, could you please tell me?
Yeah. I got that much. Yeah, it's just when there's something before the opening credits.
Anyway, this week's cold open was the ship getting repainted. How funny is that?
Yeah, I did like that. I like that. I was like, well, we're not in the Mirror Universe anymore. We better get back to...
And your favourite actress comes, like, screaming out of the blocks on this week's episode. She's all like, "You get on your knees, slave! I eat kelpians for breakfast!" And all that bullshit on the transport of it. It's like, for a second I thought I was going to get the episode that I wanted last week, the fish out of water thing that we were talking about.
I'm having this issue where I hate half the storylines, and the other half I'm really enjoying. So, I mean, well, not storylines, but maybe just characters.
Yeah.
Because put Saru in a room with Ash Tyler, and Tilly's there too, and Stamets is there.
Yeah.
And they can all talk about something, or like talk about their feelings or something. I don't really care. That's a great scene. I like that because it's got good actors in it, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, you put Giorgio or Laurel or Michael Burnham or Sarek,
the lead actor,
or the Admiral Cornwall.
Oh God, I was so.
She wasn't as bad in this episode as previously.
Yeah, I'm starting to realise. I think she might be wearing the dentures too. She's like, "This stuff is really under pressure." So she's lisping all the. And just, I don't know, I'm not a fan.
She's definitely not as bad as she was in the other half of the season.
How many names have we got for her? Captain Cornwoggle? yeah, get her.
What?
Admiral Cornwobble?
Oh, wobble. I did think it was a little excessive that when she was mad, she disintegrated Lorca's fortune cookies. I mean,
no matter how mad we get, the foundations of society are that you can't just go shooting up your office.
Like, shooting a gun at a bowl of fortune cookies is a bit much.
Yeah.
Maybe just cool it off a little bit.
I think that was less disappointment that they'd all been, huckstered by the mirror guy, and more just like residual shit from her relationship, which she should keep that stuff to herself.
Yeah.
Sorry. Stupid fortune cookies. It's like she's at his apartment and she vandalizes something. Oh, sorry.
One thing I really like, and it might just be because, I just watched a Doug Jones film. I've got a new appreciation for the actor.
Yeah.
But in the first few scenes where he's walking around the ship, just kind of doing stuff, he's going about his chores. He's like, I don't know if they told him to exaggerate his walk, but he's doing this weird thing where he wobbles his arms left and right as he walks.
He was on the way out of a room or a door at one point, and he did this weird.
He's on the way out and then way into the next scene as well.
Oh, yeah.
I guess he's been doing it the entire show, but it's just funny how obvious it was there. And you got to hand it to him. He's doing a very good job physically acting a big, tall alien. You're
not going to get any complaints about Doug Jones' acting from me. The thing about Saru that I really liked this episode. Twice in two different scenes and under slightly different circumstances, he does this little sound that.
Yeah, he does that all the time. I watch it with the subtitles, so I see it a lot.
That's the thing is, like, now it's almost
as though subtle little.
It's almost as though this week I'm spotting things that he was doing before and just never really thought about. And once when he's talking to Shazad Latif in this one, he's like, "Oh wow." When they're in and then there's another scene, I think during one of the briefings or something, where he makes that same sort of... Yeah, anyway.
No, he does it like maybe once every episode at least.
Oh, okay.
And it is a nice just little touch to show these alien, because, you watch something like Enterprise, you see Dr. Phlox, and he's just a guy with makeup on. He acts eccentric, but, he doesn't really do anything. He has that really weird CG smile in the first episode.
Okay. I just wanted to ask about Dr. Phlox's stupid CG smile. Did they stop doing that after a while?
I don't think you did it many more times.
Yeah.
But I mean, what evolutionary... What's the advantage of that?
Hey, gotta love the Enterprise call-outs in this episode.
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to mention. I think the way... Because they've referenced Enterprise a few times now.
I thought
at least once.
I thought they were going to go with the subtle route because they say it once in this. Oh, no one's been to the Klingon home planet in a century. I thought, oh, okay, that's good enough. That's all the Enterprise I need.
But then she stands up in the bridge and goes, "Nobody's been there in a century since Captain Jonathan Archer of the TV show Enterprise went there back in 2001."
Do you ever feel like when you get the normal reference and then the dumbed down version, you just want to grab them by the ears and say, "We fucking heard you the first time."
Yeah. It's a little bit on the nose, but I do like that they're referencing it because it's the orphan stepchild of Star Trek. So, and it's still it's still canon. It happened, Scotty.
I guess I don't know.
The temporal Cold War happened. You can't just the Xindi War happened. You can't just sweep it under a rug.
Yeah. With this Vok thing, okay. Vok is he's been turned into Ash Tyler. I kind of wanted to ask a question about, like, not the legalities, not the ethics. I don't know. Help me figure out what I'm looking for here. If he's Vok and he's been sewn up into human form,
yes,
to pretend to be Ash Tyler, when you undergo a procedure to restore you to your proper form or fix him, make him normal again, wouldn't the appropriate thing to do be turn him back into a Klingon?
Well, they said that they don't really understand the extent of like what happened, and the female doctor lady is basically like, "Look, I don't fucking know. Look, it's like he's a Klingon, but he's also a human, and I don't really know what happened.
No.
I don't think they have the technology to really reverse it.
I mean,
yeah. We're on the Federation ship Discovery. I don't think they're really that keen to turn him back into a Klingon.
Well, I was
matters that much.
I was very keen to see him back as well. Even a death.
Look, I mean, I'm all in for Shazad Latif, but the way that it's kind of happening is a little annoying because the fact that she was just holding the gloves and just kind of surgically turned off Vok.
Yeah.
Or like combine them or something. It's a kind of corny. See, the thing about Discovery, right?
Yeah.
That because people are saying, well, be glad you're getting this long arc of cool story and stuff. It's like Deep Space Nine, and everyone loves Deep Space Nine. So it's not like episodic.
Yeah.
It's not just a reset button at the end of every episode, like in Voyager or something.
Yeah.
But with that comes the fact that you can't do kind of corny, ridiculous stuff without it following along and being, part of the next episode and the next episode and the next episode. Because you can do something stupid in an episode of Voyager. You can turn Janeway and Paris into lizards or whatever. And then you can just reset it and you can just forget about that episode.
Mm.
But so he just walked in while I was talking about lizards. And but in Discovery, if that happens, you just kind of have to live with it for the next 3 or 4 episodes because they're going to keep talking about it.
So, hey, you're talking about Star Trek used to be rather more episodic, and this is supposed to be more of a...
Yes.
Even though this is a completely different sort of creative team making the show.
Yeah.
Watching David.
Sorry, is
it just me, or is the Star Trek thing, they're really not very good at doing this big arc thing? They seem out of practice somehow. Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be coming naturally to them.
In Discovery?
Yeah.
I think they're doing okay, but like... See, I did like it when each episode kind of had... No, I don't really get what you mean.
I don't know. Just in general, it seems to be... It doesn't seem to come to them very naturally. I liked some of their standalone stuff, like the Mud thing, but this whole... big 15-episode plot thing just seems to be kind of paced weirdly, and
it's very like jerky because they have to have a big reveal and a big mission every episode. That's another thing that's annoying me about the show.
Yeah,
is there's always a big reveal at the end, and there's always like some sort of fucking ridiculous mission that they have to go on. It's destroying the Terran ship. Now it's jumping into Kronos to map it out or something. Like, I get that they need that's the thing about the stakes that I was talking about in the after the Terran episode, last episode, where they just saved the entire universe. They kind of have to keep up that pace of like everything being really important.
Yeah, hang on a minute.
So now they have to spore jump into the middle of a planet to.
How would you possibly make yourself care about the Federation anymore when you just saved like a billion other versions of it from being destroyed by?
I mean, that's my point.
Yeah, but no.
And another thing, they have the spore drive, which kind of works like time travel.
Yeah.
And kind of works like alternate dimensions. So they just grew a whole another crop of it. So the fact, I mean, why don't they just go somewhere else? I mean, that might be what they do at the end of the season. But then I don't care about anything because everything's just replaceable. And
also, now that they have the spore drive working again, can't they just go back to doing what they were doing before with Lorca, just like attacking random Klingon ships and eventually
just shooting Klingon ships?
Yeah, eventually
they could do that.
Turn that red map blue again. And I want to talk again about the battle map. They're like, I don't think they can get their shit straight with just how bad the situation is, because it's kind of like, the Klingons have taken over this much territory, but then she's saying things like, oh, well, with this anti-cloaking radar tech that you've discovered, we'll send this across the entire Federation, we'll send this to the front lines, she says. And if you
I got the same thing.
If you look at the map, the front lines is like a couple of inches up here. So, who's left?
I got the same thing because one of the lines says 20% of Federation space has been lost. And I was like, oh, that's
hard luck.
But that's not even that bad. That's, I mean, I've seen them. You've played Civilization before. If you lost 20%, you'd be fine.
That's Ryzen. Yeah,
you lose Ryzen.
Yeah.
But then they said, all our top brass has got blown up. That was our last stronghold. I was like, oh shit. What happened to the other 80% of Federation space? There's just no strongholds. It's just people.
I think Star Trek scriptwriters should be forbidden from using real measures of astronomical distance if they're not going to be consistent with them.
Yeah, I was going to mention that as well.
This is now classic Trek because they've dropped the ball on a pretty easy to figure out measurement.
And this is so simple.
The humble astronomical unit, if you don't know, is how far the Earth is from the Sun.
It's a classic unit. Everyone knows it. It's got very real world consequences.
And your show is not a Star Trek show until you've tried to use this to sound smart and wound up fucking. Because is it just me, or is that Starbase that they're talking about above Earth in that shot? Like it's Earth, right?
I didn't think it was above Earth.
Well, I'm gonna have to.
Although I didn't see the shot. I didn't pay attention to the shot close enough. They said 100 AUs from Earth.
Yeah,
which is about 2.5 times past Pluto or something.
Yeah, well, we don't have any blue-greeny planetoids out at that
distance. And it's hanging above the planet.
So unless the Federation bought one to put Starbase 1 next to, it's pretty... Sorry, this is getting very nerdy, but listen, astronomy is kind of important to me, and I don't like you guys messing around in the...
I mean, you don't want to just throw out random lines that kind of just don't make sense. It's like Neptune back in 6 minutes. This is the fastest warp we've ever had, Which is...
Glad you quoted that because I didn't have to... What is that the actual quote? Because I was confident that I wasn't going to get it right, so...
Yeah, no, he's... On the first episode of Enterprise, he says, Neptune back in 6 minutes. This is the fastest warp drive... what's he called? The Warp 5 drive or something?
Yeah. Something like that. The Warp 5 ship.
Maybe it's like in Star Trek when the warp numbers keep kind of getting inflated because they get to 10 and then they think, well, we better just make 10-1 again and then make another scale.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like that. Maybe they, astronomical units are too short for.
Here's the thing. So with warp, I can buy that because it's warp. It's fake. The astronomical unit is not fake. It's
maybe they redefine the astronomical unit. Because all of a sudden they're going zillions of light years.
I'm not giving them that one.
No, you don't want that. And sorry, I mean thousands of light years, not bazillions.
I don't want to.
The galaxy is only 70,000 light years across. So.
I don't just want to say to a multi-million-dollar production, hey, it sucks you shouldn't have bothered. They did get somewhere this week. I thought, their treatment of post-op trans Ash Tyler was like a lot more interesting than anything they're doing on the Orville with Bortus and his non-gendered kid or whatever the fuck that was all about. Like this is a much,
Not really anything, Scotty. This has really nothing to do with transgenderism.
Well, he's trans Klingon. He's transhuman.
No, but it's got nothing to do.
He was
saying it's like tackling that issue. It's not tackling anything.
It kind of is. It is.
Oh, it isn't.
He was a Klingon. He's been operated on. He's human now. Hey.
That only makes sense if, like, no, it doesn't make no, Scotty. I'm not even gonna.
Damn it! That was my big gambit to try and derail David's podcast, but it didn't look like it. He's just laughing, so it's not going to work. Okay. I do have a problem with this whole their strategy and the war and stuff. Yeah. It kind of occurred to me during the briefings that this kind of war would never work. They're sort of like, you know, let's jump to Kronos and do the bombings. And they jump to Earth, the starbase is blown up. Quick, we got to leave again. To me, space war would just be people jumping around to each other's systems, blowing stuff up until eventually no one's left. Like, it's not like World War II where you have a front and there's people moving at a speed at which can be thought out by strategists. It's sort of like, there's 100 soldiers in Baton. Quick, send a tank over there. And it's like a space war with ships zooming around at warp speed and stuff. You couldn't manage it, I think.
I think the thing that you might be missing is that generally in... I'm going to take that. I'm going to answer this very seriously. Even though I don't really care. But in Federation space, like imagine Federation space is like a bubble.
Yeah. Where
you've got all your planets, or I guess it's flat because everything's flat in space. It's a 2D map. Everything's so everything in Federation space, and they have like sensor stations or something. Yeah. They have sensors around their territory that would sense when the enemy are coming.
Yeah.
When they're warping in. So they don't just appear like at Earth and blow shit up.
They don't.
But you have forewarning, so you can send your ships to meet them, you know?
It's not about not having any warning, but having useful warning. Like, I just think it would all happen too quickly for them to really do anything about it. It's just a theory. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're losing the war. We got so many ships, but they're just all in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I do have one bit that I really liked. It's when Ash. No,
it's just like it's like naval war. You know, if there was I don't know anything about war. If there was a war, I don't know anything about like naval, Napoleonic wars or anything.
Yeah.
The war with ships.
Well, see, that was slow. How is that different? That was slow as hell. So
it was slow as hell.
There was time to react.
Yeah, but the time to react is you seeing them on the horizon, going, "Oh shit, they're gonna get here soon."
Yeah,
it's send a pigeon to go get our other ship back here. It's kind of like that.
I was just thinking about a scene that I really liked in this week's episode, which is it makes you wait a very long time for Michael Burnham and Ash Tyler to meet again. And then he gives you this great scene where he's like, "You're just looking for an excuse to end it."
I thought that was very weird, that one line of dialogue where he just suddenly like, so one thing goes wrong and everything, and now all of a sudden you don't want to deal with me. I mean, it's like you were a Klingon.
Relationships can end over what seems to be pretty petty stuff, but he's a post-operative trans Klingon guy who tried to strangle her, and he's like, hey, you're just looking for an excuse to leave me.
Friend, and it's that one line was way out of place. I think.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to like make it like they are in a relationship, and it's a classic relationship kind of thing where he kind of but he had no reason. He really had no reason to say that.
And that was the first time in weeks that Michael Burnham's had a reaction on screen and actually felt like I felt something from it. She's like, excuse. I was like, yeah, finally, I get her.
No, I love all the Ash Tyler stuff in this. Him just basically just taking turns going up to people on the ship and going, I'm sorry, you can hit me if you want.
Oh man, yeah.
He walks up to Stamets as he comes out and he goes, you're an asshole.
I need you to practice Shazad Latif's emotional voice. It starts to break when he's talking.
Before you say anything.
And then Tilly.
So watch the episode again.
Tilly has a heart of gold. She picks up her carrots and her her fake bacon, and she walks over to him in the canteen and sits with him. What a beautiful soul she has. But then everybody else gets up and does it, and I didn't like that.
And then everyone crowds around him, and it's like, oh, come on, he just had surgery. He's a bit he's a bit on edge. You don't have to crowd around to start talking to him.
And did anybody even know him?
Standing up around the table.
Had any of these people met him before? Hey, it's me, Ash Tyler, star quarterback. He's back.
Stop saying Star Quarterback. I don't think I'm Ash Tyler, Staff Lieutenant. Not really, not anymore.
Yeah, well, I just feel sorry for him. What else happened? Let's see.
What else happened? I don't know.
Let's see. Yeah.
I was getting mad at the terraforming plan until I realized that I guess they just had terraforming technology. Like, I was watching this scene. I was like, where the fuck are they getting all this? Did they just build all this shit right now? But then I kind of realized, I guess they might have invented it. Like,
well, it did used to be. It did used to be a science ship, didn't it?
Yeah, they probably just invented that technology a little bit earlier, and then made, before ahead of time.
There was, just the whole spore thing. He's spore seeding a planet. Kind of all right. I guess it's Star Trek. Kind of makes sense. But just the overall structure of the episode with it was just a series of weird little chats between characters, and one of them between Giorgio and who the hell was she talking
Sarek?
to? Giorgio and Sarek, that one just started in the middle of their chit-chat. Like, I was all of a sudden...
I know, yeah.
It was like they weren't even trying anymore. They're kind of just jerking us around to each part of the ship, and they're all talking, and I don't really care about any of them anymore. It's sort of like...
It is one of those things where I think they've got a whole bunch of action lined up for the next episode, so they had to get the homework out of the way of the talking, get Ash Tyler to walk around and talk to people, get Philippa Giorgio to get her plan out, and then she can come back and be the captain, and she'll... I assume it's going to end with mutiny again. Like, it all comes full circle. So
it's poetry.
She does something like she wants to eat Saru, and then
she's like, Saru, look at you in that uniform. You look good enough to eat. And he's like,
I've been waving around in front of me all day. I'm so hungry. and then Michael Burnham will have to kill her again. Incapacitate her.
No, she's got the choice of either killing Giorgio or killing Saru so that he doesn't get eaten. Like, who did she kill? It's those classic moral dilemmas that Star Trek likes to put his characters into.
You can't choose, it's
who do I kill?
Sophie's choice. You could either kill.
I think this is great. I think that's a good idea.
I do really hope at the end of this, because obviously Giorgio is going to disappear.
Yeah.
I do really hope, and Admiral Cornwall's probably going to die as well.
I hope so. I'm sick of that actress.
I do hope that Saru is the captain and not Michael Burnham. Like, obviously, the command structure thing doesn't say that Michael Burnham will be the captain, but it's a TV show.
Part of the reason... Look, part of what initially won me over with this concept, before the show actually was airing, was this idea of the show following somebody who wasn't the captain. And I immediately thought, because I'd relate everything back to Mad Men, cool, kind of like how Mad Men followed Peggy Olson. But the thing is...
It also followed Don Draper.
No, but like, it starts with her first day of work, and you see her being a secretary, and she comes up. As the show's about Don Draper, but it's also got that Peggy Olson angle.
Are you just saying like it's just got...
No, I'm saying why... No,
those two are the main characters.
I'm saying why Mad Men's good and Discovery sucks, because if Mad Men hadn't done what Discovery does, in the first episode, she would have thrown the typewriter at Don Draper's head, and they just would have given her office then. Like, the progression of this Michael Burnham person is just too quick, and she just gets away with murder, and it's just annoying.
Yeah.
So they've taken that concept and really just fluffed it, I think.
John Mahoney died.
I was very sad about that.
I just started watching Frasier again. I'm up to like season 3.
I was going to, and then I realised, it's 11 seasons, I'll burn too much time. So I thought, I'll wait a while.
John Mahoney is the dad from Frasier, by the way.
Terribly
it's just so sad. It's like one of the saddest celebrity deaths I've ever experienced.
I immediately thought to that great clip of him saying, "Now I'm dead, trapped in a box underground. Pretty scary, huh?" It's my favourite John Mahoney clip. I
instantly thought of Fridge Pants, but...
No, I'm very sad about it, because, I watched so much Frasier. I've watched basically 44 seasons of it, if you account for all of the repeat viewings on DVD, so
No, I mean, we're definitely huge fans of Frasier.
Okay, well...
It's a basis for, who we are, Do
you want to talk about this other thing that happened? This trailer that came out?
I do. See, the thing is, I kind of half forgot everything that happened in this episode of Discovery, because about 2 or 3 hours after I watched it, the Han Solo trailer came out. The full 2 minute, whatever.
I'm just so you go first, because I'm feeling a lot of emotions right now.
I read something that kind of helped me understand it a little bit better. Well, not helped me understand it, I just thought it was funny.
Okay.
It's the 2009 reboot of Star Trek, but Star Wars. Like, they've got the cool young character, he's a rebel. He was doing rebellious stuff since he was a kid.
David, he's been running scams on the streets since he was 10.
He's been running scams on the streets since he was 10.
What, the space street?
It's got the rock music in the trailer, and it's the old stuff, but it's also cool and new. And Woody Harrelson's putting together a team. I
am violently opposed to this movie, can I just tell you?
I know you are. Is there anything... Okay, you watched the trailer. Is there anything from that trailer that you are excited about?
Not a second of it.
A single thing in that trailer that you're like...
Everything about Solo, a Star Wars movie, whatever you call it, is wrong. They've got... I mean, how many... Like,
there's a Twi'lek.
3 really recognizable actors in it. They've got Emilia Clarke, who really can't act very well. We've got Woody Harrelson, who, I'm not going to say can't act, but this isn't his movie. And even Donald Glover, who I originally was hoping would, like, save the thing. To be quite honest, he sticks out, he's too recognizable, and I love Mr. Gambino and all that great work he does. Great stuff. But...
Stop. I have to stop you there. Because I know you basically know nothing about Donald Glover.
I heard a couple of songs.
You don't listen to his music. You don't watch any of his movies or TV shows.
I listen to a couple. Listen.
The most you've seen is The Martian, and you hated him in that.
What's pissing me off is that all these people on Twitter saying, oh, they should just make this a Lando movie. He's totally going to be the best. And it's kind of like, nah, actually, he just looks like he's suffering the same symptoms as the rest of the people involved in this project. Is that they shouldn't be there. So
It does feel a little bit like cosplay.
It is.
It is cosplay.
It's a project that got the green light before it should have. And nobody was there, nobody stopped it. And as for the... I mean... You could have all those problems, but still have a good movie with a good Han Solo. But he's just so... There's just nothing there.
There's a lot of people. Look, there's a lot of people saying he looks a little bit. Sometimes he looks a little bit like him, and you can kind of see like this is like the proto Han Solo. When he'll eventually grow up.
If he was 15,
he exudes no confidence or anything. He's just
look. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place because if he was 15 and he sucked. You could maybe figure out in 15 years he'll grow up and be a man. But then again, I don't want a movie about 15-year-old Han Solo. So they can't do one about young Han Solo. So they try and make one about him slightly younger, but it's not credible. Like, there's no possible way you can get from A to B with this guy being A and Harrison Ford being B. It just doesn't work.
They're saying it's 10 years.
Oh.
And honestly, look, people change in 10 years, but he just doesn't have any sort of confidence or anything that you see in Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Like, all of his lines just feel kind of weedy and like...
He's a pussy! He's a fucking pussy!
The line where Emilia Clarke says, I'm the only one that knows who you are. And he goes, what does that mean? He says something like that. I can't remember what he said. But it doesn't... He's not smooth or anything. He's just...
The comparison with the Star Trek 2009 makes sense to me, but to be quite honest, I think the angle they're going with is Jack from Titanic.
What do you mean?
He's a kind of a dweeby weasel guy.
Yeah.
He just... that vision of the street rat? That particular kind of...
Yeah, sure. They could have just... got Chris Pine to play it.
He even looks a bit more like fucking Leonardo DiCaprio than he does Han Solo, if you ask me. He's got that... Something's not quite right.
This guy. Yeah, he does. He looks like a cross between Leonardo DiCaprio and like young Jack Nicholson or something.
He looks like a bunch of other people, even a bit Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro.
But he doesn't look like... And it's just... I don't know.
Don't pick sides. Don't join.
Somebody said to me on Twitter, don't jump the gun, it might still be good kind of thing. And it's just like...
It might still be crap.
No. It's like sort of like, yeah, it might still be good if none of the things you showed me in the trailer are in it. And there's a completely different movie waiting for me. Which is how I felt about the Ghostbusters remake and the like all these other things where people are like, oh, let's reserve judgment. It might be a lot better. It's
Well, I mean, one thing I do like from this very short part of this trailer is that there's more of the original aliens. Because one thing that I read on the internet that has kind of made me not like the sequel movies as much is that none of the aliens are like old aliens that we've seen.
Oh yeah, I want
it's
the
just
three
all weird, puffy, brown aliens.
I want the ones with the 3 eyes on their head. You know, the goat guys.
There was one of them in this trailer as well.
Oh yeah, right.
It's in the cantina scene or something. There's just in the sequel movies. There's no iconic aliens. There's no like Twi'leks or anything. Like where the fuck did they all go? It's just all big brown blobby, shitty aliens.
There's not going to be many people talking about Ungar plot in 20 years' time. Am I right?
Well, I mean, for that, Scotty, you get a quarter portion.
1 quarter portion.
1 quarter portion.
Yeah. Oh, look, I mean...
look, I don't like the look of the main guy. I think Emilia Clarke's probably a shitty actress, but she might do okay.
Am I imagining things, or is she not much of an actress? I mean...
She had... Look, everything I've seen her in, she's not been very good, except for Game of Thrones, which is questionable anyway. I mean, she might pull it out in this movie. We've only got like 2 lines from her in the trailer. We don't know.
How long do we have to wait for this piece of shit to come out?
It's in May. It's very soon.
I hope they go with my original intro, the one that I sent to them.
Which is that?
It's Lando. He's old. He's like, well, I remember when I met Han Solo.
On the one hand, that's like really, like,
gay.
It's kind of really cliche.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I just want to see it.
I just want to see Billy D. Williams. I just love that guy. Like, he could... Yeah, anyway.
I do... I think Donald Glover could do it, but he has to really pull it out, I guess.
I'm just not a big believer... I mean,
Also, that...
Yeah, sorry. You go.
I don't know, just the whole trailer... It's just so cliche, just bad. Like every line is bad, and the end kind of jokey bit that you get in a trailer is the worst.
Is it just me, or is he a complete dweeb at that end shot where he's like, "See, I told you I could fly a ship," or whatever the fuck he says? Like I can't remember.
I'm not even worried about his acting. I mean, I am, but that's not even the thing that makes that scene bad. It's just the classic, oh. We thought we were in trouble, but now we're not in trouble, so we're fine. Oh no, we're in trouble! Comedy.
I don't know, I actually found his acting to be the worst part of the whole thing. Couldn't they just get...
Yeah, obviously, I don't like his acting.
Couldn't they just get Ansel Elgort?
That's the thing, like, I don't... See, if he was in this, he might ruin Ansel Elgort more than he already has ruined himself, but... He might not be good, he might be just as bad.
Well, what I was going to say about Donald Glover is that even if he turns out being the best thing about it, it's such a weak concept. Like it's always been a weak concept to me. I thought, there's going to be a young Han Solo.
It just shouldn't be made.
There's going to be a young Han Solo movie. Oh fuck! How are they going to make that good? And as we get closer and closer, I've seen nothing that suggests it's going to be anything other than just a mess. The
real issue with recasting a character like that is like with Obi-Wan. Yeah. We got him old, and then they recast him to be young. So we didn't have any frame of reference of what young Obi-Wan was.
Yeah.
Young Obi-Wan was suddenly Ewan McGregor, and we just accepted that because we had seen young Obi-Wan,
And he's
and it was a very big gap as well. It's like 50 years or some shit. Not that long. 40 years.
Yeah.
40 years?
Yeah, it's like 30.
30? Okay, whatever. Anyway, but we've seen Han Solo young. Yeah. He was not much older than what this is.
Let's call him like 33 or something.
Recasting him is just a terrible idea because when we think of young Han Solo, we just think of Han Solo.
Yeah, basically.
And they said that this film takes place over it's spread out over a few months or years or something. I think they said,
really?
Which kind of allays this next fear, but I hope they don't do the Indiana Jones 3 thing where they show every single characteristic about Han Solo being generated in one scene.
Yeah.
At the start of Indiana Jones 3 where he finds the whip and he uses the whip and he scars, he cuts himself and gets the scar.
Actually,
and then he gets given the hat the snakes.
I'm gonna have to disagree. I'm gonna have to disagree with you completely. I think that was, that was just a weird example of it working because they had an actor that sort of.
No, Scotty, I don't care.
Incredibly.
I don't care about Joaquin Phoenix. No, not Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay, I'll just turn around then.
No, I'm not making a point about the actor who played him. I'm making a point about the story, which is if they show all that stuff about Han gets his vest, Han gets his blaster, Han gets his Millennium Falcon, Han does the Kessel Run.
I know, it's weird for me because I don't want any of it, but then again, I think of the start of Indiana Jones 3 and I don't know, it works in that case. I don't know why.
I don't know. Why do you need to see him get his hat? The hat is fine because it transitions into the next scene, and he needs to get a hat at some point. But the whip and the scar and the snakes and he got a gun or something?
I don't know. That movie makes it work.
All that. No, I don't agree at all. I think that's terrible.
Really?
Yes.
The start of Indiana Jones 3 is great.
It's the fact that it all happens in one scene. It's like a cartoon.
Yeah, it is. It is like a cartoon.
Okay, look, I mean, Indiana Jones is never been a serious film.
Yeah.
Series.
No, look, I understand.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Look, we'll watch trailer 1 because that was another teaser, wasn't it? That counts as a teaser. I don't understand the way they release trailers nowadays. Because they released a 30-second spot that there was a teaser for the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
That came out the next day. And then
there's a teaser for a teaser
trailer, so now it's going to be a trailer 1 out in a month or so.
What I really liked about the teaser was they had the Venetian blinds in front of him, and I just thought, oh, great, this is going to be a 90-minute film where they're constantly kind of trying to hide his face. I
was worried about that. That's the thing, because they kind of hid him, probably as like a suspense thing, and less as of a hiding the badness. Because, I mean, the next trailer came out the day after, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But they haven't let Donald Glover have any lines. And that kind of worries me, because maybe he's just terrible. He could just be awful.
No, they're gonna hold something there. How great are those MIDI trumpets at the end of the trailer? Wah, 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 wah.
I also hate the 3D logo with the letters like rotating. It feels like a GIF from MySpace.
Yeah, I hate those cheap logos. Also, have you seen the great little fake app that somebody did putting Harrison Ford's face on fucking the guy in the chase scene?
No.
I love this fake app thing. I'm in love. I love it. I saw the first really good one that I saw today was Nicolas Cage on Captain Picard.
Jesus. I was going to say we need to put shots of Ansel Elgort from Baby Driver and lines from Baby Driver onto the trailer, but I don't have After Effects and I don't want to make you do it, so
okay,
you just throw that idea.
Well, anyway, that's the Solo trailer.
That's Discovery as well. I'm kind of looking forward to the next episode. I'm just hoping that it's not all action. I hope Shazad Latif gets to do something.
I don't know.
Saru ends up as captain.
I don't know what to expect. I
hope Giorgio dies in the first 2 minutes.
See, here's the thing I would have said 10 episodes ago. Would have been like, well, I hope the progression of Michael Burnham is such that she isn't just completely rewarded constantly for this crap. But now that we're almost at the end, it's not going to... By default, she's just enjoying the rewards of all of her previous misconduct. And it's kind of like, well, thanks a lot, show, for not...
Also, I hope they don't just use the spore drive to reset everything again. Like,
oh god, wouldn't that be cheap?
If this plan goes wrong, and they're about to die or something, and then Stamets goes, fuck it.
I'll just time travel back to the beginning.
I gotta go find you. No,
Hugh, I'm coming back.
Thank you, Hugh. No, if he, at the end of the episode, or right before the end of the episode, he decides, oh shit, we gotta get out of here, we gotta fix everything, let's just jump to a different time or a different dimension or some shit. That's gonna be annoying, because then every problem they can solve. That's the thing about the non-episodic nature of it. This power is just gonna stick with them for the rest of the series, You can kind of ignore it in
especially
like Voyager or something like that.
Yeah,
You can ignore the fact that you can just spin around the sun and go back in time
really bad
because it only happened twice.
Yeah, No, with this show, I was kind of thinking, oh, how are they going to win the war in 2 episodes? And then they're like, oh, we can grow more spores. It's like, oh, well, that was easy. Like, you've just solved one big...
Yeah, they were making a big deal about that. And then we got all those terraforming things in the back. I forgot
Let's just grow some more spores.
Go to a planet. Go to a planet and land spores there, yeah.
So, yeah, that was kind of a letdown. But again, I mean, there's only 2 episodes left. What are they supposed to do? They were always going to pull some bullshit out of their asses.
Yeah. I just hope they get the characters that I like back into it. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't want to be too negative. I mean,
yeah, well, you can't do it. After the next episode of Discovery.
Yeah.
That'll be the end of Discovery for the foreseeable future until season 2 comes out. Mm. So we will have to start on the original series.
Yeah, isn't that going to be a little?
And it's going to be a
quest
different because we're going to be doing like 3 or 4 episodes every episode.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. Is that going to be hard? I mean,
it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but
right.
the difference is, right? The difference is that we don't have a day to watch the episode and then talk about it, right?
Yeah.
I can watch TOS on the weekend or something when I'm not at work, you know.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot easier. I mean, from that perspective, yeah.
Yeah. No, it should be fun. It'd be a good excuse to watch all the shows again, because...
Exactly, because I've been itching to watch some shows. Look, I watched...
some shows.
some shows. I've been itching to watch some shows again.
Yeah.
I watched... I can't remember what episode it was. Fuck.
Shit! David! Oh no! David!
I watched Deep Space Nine's The Visitor from season... Scotty, do you know what that episode is?
It's about Nana Visitor.
No. Surprisingly not. It's about a very, very old Jake Sisko, like he's about 100 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know that episode yet?
I do, no, yeah. I've never watched it, but I know, like, bits of it.
It's a very sad episode. It's, like, the saddest episode of Star Trek. You think that The Inner Light is, like, one of the top sad episodes? Because it's not even that sad. The Visitor is a sad episode.
Look, every series has its own sad episode. You've got, as you say, The Inner Light. You've got the...
I don't think The Inner Light's that sad, though.
You've got the Jake Sisko... You've got this Jake Sisko one that you're talking about. And TOS has Sitting on the Edge of Forever. Classic.
Sitting on the Edge of Forever.
A very classic episode. A tragedy.
I think it's City.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I always wondered about that time. And I get to make that joke again when we watch it too. So
obviously, the sad episode of Voyager is
Skyship,
Family Life, whatever the one where the Doctor has a family.
I think when we do Voyager podcast, I'm going to contend that Skyship is a sadder episode.
There's nothing sad happens in it.
Well, nothing sad happens in the Doctor's one. He's just a hologram. But in the Skyship, you see generations of...
Scotty, when was the last time you watched that episode? The one where the Doctor gets a family?
Not in a while.
Okay, the last scene is him going to his daughter on her deathbed, and his daughter is dying.
Okay.
And he has to comfort the dead daughter.
So, holographic Doctor goes to his holographic daughter to the holographic deathbed.
It doesn't matter. It's still sad.
It's just like Black Mirror. You know what? They're all in the computer. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all. Yeah, they should have just let Robert Daly do it. They should just let him continue.
Well,
he's not
okay.
dead. He's not back.
Well, we say he's a bad guy and it's all criminal. I was glad we stopped him. But then you turn it around and watch the start of the episode again, and it all looks like so much fun. And he's living out the space fleet dream, and you're kind of like, well, maybe they should have just let him have his little fucking world. I mean, what difference does it make?
For the betterment of the universe
and of life itself. Space fleet duty.
But you assholes are fucking it up. Anyway, we're done.
Yeah, we're done now. Sorry if this wasn't a very good... This episode didn't give me a lot to think about, really. Except for the trans thing. I thought that was kind of cool. So,
completely non-relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on Skype again, so we had some issues, but that's,
Yeah, we had some Skype problems.
That's the life of a person who has to train to Scotty's house when there's no trains.
Oh, yeah. I want to nail this down. Your objection to rail replacement buses is...
I don't know when they're coming and they take forever.
Oh, okay, alright. All right.
Look, my commute from your house to my house is already over an hour.
Yeah, I understand.
And I don't want to make it longer. On a work night, on a night like this, I want to stay forever.
A little bit of classic comedy.
I'm actually moving further. I'm moving further north, so it's going to be slightly longer. But that's
But the place you're going has NBN or is going to get NBN?
Will have NBN, and then I'm streaming. I'm making videos. I'm doing everything. I'm not going to. I'm not going to do anything.
I said I was going to do more stuff when I got better internet, and like for a time I was kind of into the idea, and it's just been so slow going. I have not been a happy man. I know the past week I've just been in this deep funk, and I don't know how I'm going to get out of it. But
although I will, in addition to the better internet, I will also have my own kind of space, so it will be a lot easier to do videos and recording and stuff. Because right now I'm in the lounge room, I'm making everyone shut up. You know.
See, I don't know. My space is marginally better than yours, but I still.
Well, you have a room.
Well, I have a room, but I don't know if you. I mean, you're here on Friday. You know what it's like trying to do stuff and.
Yes, I mean everyone kicks the door down and starts talking, and if you start talking louder in your recording, they start talking louder to talk over you, and.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a work in progress. I gotta.
Anyway, that's shop talk.
I want to be a happier chappy. Shop talk.
Chappy, Scotty.
Yeah.
We're done. Thank you for watching. This was episode 13. Episode 14 is coming up next week
for the big finale. Should we do an episode 15 just to review the whole show?
Do you just want to fix? No.
No. When I'm done with Discovery, I'm done. Yeah. I'm done.
I'm out.
Yeah. I guess next week, wrapping up Discovery and then on to TOS.
And then after that, TOS, the animated series, 4 movies. Then TNG, a little bit of TNG, then the 5th movie.
We're going by air dates.
TNG, then D Space Nine, then a movie, and then.
How much Star Trek are we going to be able to do before Discovery?
All the way to the White House.
Yeah!
What were we going to say?
How much Star Trek can we pack in before Discovery starts up again?
I don't know. I would hope that we would end on the end of a season.
Me too.
Anyway, we're done.
All right. Bye. See you guys.
Hi, I'm Todd. I'm with Atari. You might have heard of us.